Michelle. It's nice to see you again. How are you today?
Okay.
Great. Great. The last time you were here, we talked about some things that were causing you to have a lot of stress. And basically what it boiled down to was you have a roach problem in your house that you can't really tackle efficiently because of your neighbors on one side. Some problems happened between between you all, and there was kind of like a breakdown in communication, and I believe the police were called for what you're thinking is absolutely no reason at all. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're still on okay terms with your other neighbor, but because you can't, you're not on speaking terms with your first neighbor, the problem is not really going anywhere. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And when the last time you were here, you left off with the neighbor had called the police, and your boyfriend had talked to the police officer and said that the guy next door, the son-in-law, is that correct?
Yes.
That the son-in-law had told the police officer that someone had put this poison in his yard and that he didn't know who had done it, but he thought that somebody was trying to poison him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
He actually didn't know, but the guy that owns the place or rents the place knew who was putting the bait out, but we stopped. Then he called the Department of Agriculture's, which is who we have a license, and it's through the Department of Agriculture, which I could jeopardize my job, my boyfriend's job, and then we would be with no job because of we're losing the license to be able to put the pesticide out to use in the house and everything. And it was not only when he got the Department of Agriculture guy involved, he involved the whole neighborhood basically, because there's first strike, which is the poison. It's the bait for the rats throughout the neighborhood. We're not the only ones that use it. The neighbors out back all use it and stuff, and they got them all involved because the rats, when they eat it, they drag it out of the holes to take it back to their nest. I mean, there's more than one nest out there, so they take it back to the nest.
So when it was initially applied, it was placed in the holes,
Yes.
and the rats actually pull it out of the holes?
Yes.
They like move it?
Yes, they like take it back to their nest so that others could feed off of it, which would kill them within 3 hours of eating the poison. I did go out with the Department of Agriculture guy, and I walked the neighborhood, and it wasn't just that our neighbor's yard that had them laying out. It was the whole neighborhood. My yard had first strike where it was taken out of the traps, because I have traps in my yard. Their yard, there's no really sense of putting traps, I could say, because there's holes that they have to go in. But all the neighbors have bait stations out that the county actually put out. That wasn't from us, it was from the county. And there was bait dragged out of them, so they were just trying to put the blame on us and stuff for all this bait laying out. And it wasn't just our yard, it was every yard, you could say 15 houses down and 15 back. I mean, they're everywhere. And the guy even went to the point of calling my boss to say we were poisoning him.
Really?
I was like, and my boss called, and we removed all the first strike and everything. We even went out to the neighbors' houses and picked them up and stuff, so nothing was said. So it wouldn't come back on us because we were pest control in the neighborhood. I mean, there's more than just us. There's one that lives a block away, but our area, we're the only ones. So we went out and I picked all of them up with the guy and stuff, and we looked through the yards. And the guy even said that there is a problem. He wouldn't even walk in their house. He stepped 1 foot in and stepped right back out.
This is the guy from the Department of Agriculture.
Yes.
And I take it that the Department of Agriculture oversees the exterminating business in
Yeah,
Maryland.
we're supposed to keep notes and documents of what we use and how much we use. And we didn't see the point in using it because we wasn't charging them for it. We were just trying to help the problem out and stuff. I didn't write them a ticket for spraying and stuff. I just was trying to be a friendly neighbor and stuff. And like my landlord, I even called him about the problems and stuff, and he tried to help and hire somebody else besides us to go in and spray the house. And they were good with it until the day it was going to be done, and they said they didn't have time for it. I could have lost my mind when they said they didn't have time for somebody to come in and spray. But yet I have to take time out of my schedule to clean my cabinets out. And I still, between me and my one neighbor, we still try to keep up with the problem, but it's like impossible, I should say, with the end house being the major house that was infested, where they were up under the cabinets, and they were in their refrigerator. That's really disgusting. How do you eat? And they had kids there.
My Lord.
So I mean, it's like, I don't understand them. I tried to help. I tried to be nice about it and stuff. I even was willing to go over and help them empty their cabinets each time that they had to. But they didn't want the help there either. I mean, it's impossible to try to help somebody and then they refuse this treatment. And I can't say it was too bad because at first they did, but then when their daughter and son-in-law moved in, they are the trouble ones where they must like to live with these bugs. And they want to call and nitpick at everything, and it drives me crazy to have to deal with that.
So everything was fine with your neighbors as far as relations and getting over there to have access to their house to spray so that you all could eradicate the problem together until the son-in-law and the daughter moved in.
Yes.
And then it became a problem because he's calling the police, and then when he didn't seem to get a rise out of the police, then he calls the Department of Agriculture. He's actually like accelerating this.
A little too far.
Right, because it's a it's a possibility that it could affect your boyfriend's livelihood.
Yes.
Why do you think that he did that? Why do you think that he, went to these lengths to cause problems for you all when it sounds like you were just trying to help them?
I don't know what his intentions are. I really don't understand the man. I mean, he might have something wrong with him. I don't know. His wife, she's got something wrong with her, but she was okay to deal with until this husband of hers blew this really out of proportion. I mean, because I was just willing to help them with the problem, and they just want to make it, I guess, worse. It's hard to tell with him. He's weird. He drinks. I don't know if that's got something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know too much about him. I mean, besides helping him, talking to him here and there out on the porch, but out of the blue this all happened. It was strange. I mean, we wasn't even told don't do this no more.
Right.
Or anything. I mean, I was told by the guy that rents the house and stuff, Mike, it was okay to do all this, and then all of a sudden this guy moves in and wants to take over.
And Mike is actually the head of the household over
Yes.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a guy that you said in our last session that you had worked with previously, and
Yeah.
you knew him to an extent.
Yeah, he said it was disgusting too. That's what I really don't understand. He said he lived with it for 8 years. He bombed a couple times, but told him bombing sends them deeper into the walls, especially when you have boxes or paneling and stuff like that. I told him what had to be done and what would eliminate them. And he tried to do his best. I mean, and he even went out to the point, because I was complaining about trash cans. They kept their trash in the basement for a week. That's really disgusting. That'll cause any bug. So they went out and bought trash cans. So that was a step up. But now stopping the pest control totally was kind of crazy. I actually went to the point of calling their landlord, and he seemed not to care as long as his rent got paid, is what he told me.
It sounds to me like, along with your stress, that you're actually having like feelings of futility, in that whatever you do now, you're not going to be able to properly address the problem, because they're always going to be coming over from next door, because they don't seem to have any interest in controlling the problem. Am I correct with that? Are you having feelings of futility? And
yeah, you're absolutely correct. I tried. I mean, their landlord did hire, I don't know what kind of pest control, because it didn't have no name on the truck, but he asked about the problem and stuff, and I told him, and he was going to do the same thing I did. And I told him that they won't allow that. They didn't want first strike out there. They didn't want no poison out there. And that their house was infested with roaches. And he said, well, there's nothing I could do unless they let me in. And I told him, well, good luck. So I don't know where it went from there, what the guy did.
This is the guy that their landlord had called to take care of the problem.
Yes, because the Department of Agriculture wound up having to find them, because they had the rat barrels over there, and that's, you gotta fill them in, and they wasn't willing to do that. So I guess that's where the landlord got called and got concerned about.
Okay, so in addition to having called the police, this son-in-law next door, he also called the Department of Agriculture and made you guys go through some hoops and whatnot, and actually that could have threatened your boyfriend's livelihood. So this is in addition to the insects. This is some additional stress, because, you know, naturally, especially in these times, everybody needs their job. And in addition to that, you're also feeling like your problem is not going to come to an end, because because nobody's doing anything about your neighbor's problem. And unless the three of you, your neighbor on the one side, you and your first neighbor on the other side, all work together, you're not ever going to be able to get rid of the roach problem. Exactly. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. The next time that we get together, hopefully we'll be able to discuss some stress reduction techniques, you know, to help you with that, and also, you know, maybe explore the impasse that you have with your neighbors. Maybe we can get into that a little more in depth. Okay.
Okay.
All right. It was nice seeing you again.
Nice